Like if you get triggered that hard, because like everything is booze and sex and drugs.
Of course, yeah.
TV's pretty
Sex sells.
sex sells,
Yeah.
baby. Yeah, sex addict. That must be a tough life
You
watching
know, there's
TV.
like the top 3 things that make you want to buy something. It's like sex, then drugs, then alcohol, or maybe alcohol, drugs. Who knows?
Yeah.
It's a little
Depends on your
little
pick your
preference
poison.
there. Yeah, it goes either way.
I guess with that topic in mind, should we roll into our
Oh yeah,
main topic of the day?
yeah. Today we're going to be discussing which school subject should stay and which should go. And I think a lot of this is going to be like up to a point they should stay. You know
I
what
mean, yeah, I think there's going to be, I personally have been thinking about this for, the past several hours. And I have I want to say like specific parts of subjects that I think don't need to be there.
Okay, well, let's go into the subjects.
Yeah,
We'll
yeah.
hit them as we go.
Yeah.
So what do you want to start
In no
with?
specific order. I honestly don't even remember how I Googled them, but let's just start with history. I spelled subject wrong a bunch of times too. The subject of history.
You want to just, is that a definition up top?
History is an academic discipline which uses a narrative to describe, examine, question, and analyze past events and investigate their patterns and cause and effect. Historians debate which narrative best explains an event as well as the significance of different causes and effects. That was a pretty long-winded way to say, like, how did shit happen? Was it good? Was it bad?
I think history is necessary.
I fully agree.
All the way.
If there were one that had to stay.
Yeah. Like, imagine they don't teach history in China, and, like, you get to be president of China or whatever they have, and he's like, you know what would do great here? A real long wall.
Yeah.
It's just like, he's got no idea.
They're like, does this motherfucker not know?
Yeah.
Our what? Our history? What is that word? I agree. Like, imagine, I was just thinking, like, if they didn't teach history anywhere, that would be so funny. Like,
yeah.
Wait, have they ever tried this? We don't talk about that, all right? That is forbidden.
You want to try it? You just try it.
You just
don't
do
check
shit.
if
We
it's been
don't-
tried. You just go.
That would be so great. Honestly, we might be, no, we would be worse off for sure. But
Without history? What do you mean?
like, I'm thinking, like, big concept here. If people didn't ever know that shit was tried before, like if you didn't teach history.
No, dude, we would still be cavemen. That's all of science is like, well, let's see what this guy
Hey,
did, and
hey,
I'll
hey
do
now.
the next thing.
Science is a whole different thing.
Well, there's the history
Cool
of
it.
science.
We're trying to keep our subjects separate here.
Okay, I understand that. But if you, like, history kind of is everything that's happened, you know what I mean? So if you don't learn about Isaac Newton, you're like, God, maybe I should figure out why these apples keep falling.
I get what you're saying, but if
You're
we
right,
need
it's
to, if we
separate.
keep
It's a
it
little bit
separate, because like
separate.
math is the basis of everything.
Yeah. But you can say that for a lot of subjects.
Exactly. Like all of
Economics,
these.
You never escape economics.
I mean, there is a reason that these have stuck around for a while, but we're just here to,
Yeah.
nitpick some of the things. We're trying to shave some meat.
I think they could do. There are more exciting parts of history you don't get taught.
Definitely.
Like Operation Paperclip, you know what that is?
I actually heard about that somewhat recently.
That's where they took all the Nazi scientists and forced them to work for us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was
Or like we kind of split them with the Russians.
Aaron Rodgers and Joe Rogan were like ranting about that shit in my ear the other day, and I totally zoned out. It got way too like
Well, they
tinfoil
probably got all
hat.
hyped up about it. I know it because there's this musical comedian I've shown you him, Tom Lehrer, and he has this lullaby where it's called Werner von Braun, and it's all about this a Nazi scientist who they took over, and he's actually one of the reasons that we were able to get to the moon because he was like their rocket expert. And so I'm listening to this song and I just didn't get it, so then I had to go look, and I'm like, oh, he's a Nazi guy.
I see. Yeah,
Like,
I
you
feel
kinda
like
get it from the song.
all of NASA was Nazi. I don't know why.
Not all, but like the top guys.
I
The smartest
combined
guys.
those Nazi, Nazi.
It's very- they
I'm
felt
like
right
getting
at
those
home.
words.
Dude, they just kind of scribbled over Nazi.
Yeah, they were
on
like,
the
wait,
uniform.
NASA?
They
Nazi?
just switched the Z to an S, and then they wrote over the I with an A.
It was just like the American spelling, they thought. You're like, oh, they with
yeah.
that.
Of course. I just
We
came
had
from
a-
a Nazi.
Nazi. Yeah. I also think that like I get we learn a lot of history as like remember your presidents, shit like that, which it's important to learn about them, but at this point we have so like phones are so accessible, like the internet is almost getting more and more accessible by the day basically. I don't think kids need to be memorizing like states and shit like that, like the capitals. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess not. I mean, I think it's.
You can just teach different shit.
I kind of agree. There's too much emphasis on it, but I also think some of the memorization is good, just because memory is one of those things where the more you practice it, the better you get.
Yeah, well,
So
they
even
could be
if-
memorizing better stuff, I guess.
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's just easy when it's like a list of presidents. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no,
an
I
easy
know
way
what
to
you mean. It is
practice.
like a fun
Yeah.
thing to practice.
Yeah, because with phones, you're right. You don't need to have that information.
You
but
really
also, it would if you never practiced trying to remember things, like you would be fucked as you got older.
I don't know if that's true though. I think like Neuralinks shit like that is gonna be
Sure. Well, let's once Neuralink comes out, then we
School just
let's not be
becomes-
like, you know what, school's done. Neuralink's coming out in a few years.
I just got
It'll
uploaded 8th
probably
grade,
work.
dude.
Yeah.
Shit was nuts.
And then it doesn't work, and they're like, oh shit.
I gotta
God
retake
damn.
8th grade.
Yeah.
I gotta relink.
Some 47-year-old is like, I guess I'm in the 7th grade again. Because Neuralink didn't work. Did you see that they had the first implant recently?
Yeah, some dude was like
Can move a cursor around with his
fucking
mind.
messing around with his computer.
Pretty wild.
I mean, I feel like it's right around the corner.
I wonder if it just goes where you want it to. You know what I mean? Like, it could be embarrassing if like you're on the computer, hook up to your Neuralink, and like you're just happen to be horny, so it starts going to Pornhub, and you're like, no, stop! But you can't fight it because it just follows your brain's
is
wants.
just
Like,
really horny.
you're like, oh god, no!
Have you seen those videos that's like eye tests where guys, they have like a software that tracks where their eyes are looking?
Mm-hmm.
So they'll watch like YouTube videos with like a hot girl and like really try and focus on the face, and all of a sudden you'll just see the eyes go to the tits down. He's like, fuck, god damn it. Like, it's so funny because I mean, yeah, it's so hard. Like it's a handsome dude, I'm gonna stare at their chest for a hot sec. Like, I'm gonna look.
Yeah,
Definitely gonna take a
course.
glance.
Yeah, dude.
So a hot chick has no, my eyes don't stand a chance. It's
I'm
that
gonna
software
look.
would
I
annihilate
never
me.
heard about it used that way. I only heard about it like apparently some companies in Asia, like China, will use it to monitor their workers and see exactly how much they're working.
That's fucked up.
Yeah, it is fucked up. Dude, I'd be fired if someone saw my
Your
eye
eyes
time, where my
just
eyes
has-
were
well, I
looking.
mean, I guess they're obviously monitoring
Dude,
what you're
they're just
doing on your
gonna see
computer
that
at that point.
every Zoom call I'm on, I'm just staring at myself.
You should have to put your phone like directly in front of your fucking.
Yeah, right where you should
Yeah,
be
just
looking. Yeah,
be
dude,
scrolling the whole
find
time.
a way around it.
Oh, that'd be
What I do
brutal.
is I drag the Zoom window up so that my face is in the middle because I can't help it. I can't.
I know,
help
I
it.
do
I'm
always have my face-
looking at myself. So
I don't have
just-
it in the middle. That's crazy.
Well, because I don't want it to be obvious that I'm staring at the bottom right corner of my screen.
But then you're just staring at yourself. That's even more obvious. All right, so I think in the act of brevity, since we do have a bunch of subjects, we,
Yeah.
we should keep history. But
History sticks around.
I think we could do with a little less like bullshit history.
Yeah.
Stuff that could be Googled pretty easily. You know, maybe they could memorize some math, stuff like that. Like
Yeah.
a little more base building. So
Or like talk about, or maybe not present history as such a fact. Because usually they tell you something and it's rarely is it the whole
I
story.
think it should be taught strictly as like learning from this
Yeah,
experience.
it should be more like you argue about something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, good
Like-
old argument. Good old
Yeah.
historical argument.
Like anything, like the revolution. Say you're teaching the American Revolution. One team goes and figures out what the American... I'm sure some history teachers do this, but it should be done more. It like figures out the American side, the case for revolting, and then the other one figures out the British side, and that sort of thing.
Okay.
Like, just because it's always presented very one-sided.
It is. Well, it
So I
depends on who's
think,
teaching the history.
Yeah.
Yeah,
then
shit's been whitewashed.
Some poor kid is going to have to argue the wrong side of the Civil War.
All right. Next subject is science. Again, I spelled subject wrong.
We'll put all science together.
Yeah, I just figured we could get more deep into science, but because science obviously sticks around because we need
Yeah.
some. But like, I go back to chemistry when we were like memorizing the periodic tables.
Yeah, memorize the periodic table is silly. I agree.
I felt like that was so unnecessary, especially now. Like we could I could Google anything, but like.
Yeah, but you also should know like not to drink bleach.
Yeah, but I feel like I didn't need chemistry to know that. I agree though, like that it's not meant for everyone to like need to know. It's more meant to like spark those future chemists that need to learn the basics before they fall in love with something. But like, I don't know. My chemistry teacher was brutal in high school, and it was such a tough class. And like, it was there's 30 of us in this class.
Yeah.
One kid, maybe. I don't think any of us came chemists. Like none,
Chemists?
zero.
I don't know.
I don't know a single chemist.
I know no chemists.
I can actually pretty much guarantee that no one in that class became a chemist.
Yeah.
So,
Well, even chemists now is so neat because now it's become even more specific. Like you're not a chemist, you're a biochemist,
Yeah.
or you're some other variety.
I mean, I know Raj is like that's his field. He's
Was he
looking
biochemistry or biomechanical?
for biochemistry. I want to say.
Okay.
I don't think there's any mechanics in his shit.
Okay. I don't know. Well, now there's no biology at all. He like runs a motel, right? Sorry, Raj. Just wondering what your job is. You know?
He's probably not watching, but no. Graduate's degree.
Yeah, I agree. I think for a lot of these, like you said, you got to give them at least one course. They have to know what's out there if it's something they're interested in.
Feels like something you can do in college, though. Like a little more decision based.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, chemistry. Well, I guess we did kind of have a choice in high school. I think you could take like chemistry, anatomy, or biology. But no, I definitely took both biology and chemistry. Biology one, kind of feel like that one stays.
Yeah, biology.
It's good to know about your
sure,
body,
dude.
and like that's just important. Like that's less of a class, more of like a the fuck's going on.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
That one I think should stay. Chemistry though, like again, I just feel too specific. Physics again, I think is actually pretty important.
I do too.
I think that
you
one's
learn shit in physics.
yeah, you do.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, that makes sense.
And
Like
you don't even realize it, but then later.
and
you're
like some of
oh,
that
okay.
stuff's not. It's Googleable, but like you still need to understand what's going. Like that's the whole point of a teacher.
Yeah. Well, like everything is Googleable. You know what I mean? So
Well,
like,
like-
it's almost a cop out because you can just do away with everything that way.
No,
I think
because-
the point of these classes is more like to guide them to the important parts, a big overview. Because if you just go Google physics, you don't know where to begin. You don't know like
I agree.
the basics, and so that's I think is
Well, that's I agree with you there, but like history is kind of one where I agree it should be taught because people wouldn't look into it more, but like you don't really need someone to like teach you history. It's more like, you know,
I think it's the same thing. It's guiding them to the important parts. Of
Sure.
Whatever if you're doing.
but
American
physics feels
history.
more like a teacher is kind of important. Like we'll get to math, but like physics is, I mean, I guess physics is kind of math.
Physics is math. It's all math.
Yeah, it's like science
Math in a specific context.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess, but like physics feels more important because it's like real life math. Not to shit on your fake
A
math.
little bit. I don't know. Well, interesting.
It's applicable math.
Interesting you say that. The math that people make fun of, that very theoretical stuff where there's not an obvious real world application.
Uh-huh.
The trend has been for many years that people are doing that weird sort of mental masturbation that is that abstract
Jesus,
math,
man.
and then years later
We got
they
young
realize
viewers.
what.
We got young viewers. Chill with
No, we don't. We barely have viewers. But what happens is that science tends to trail like 20 to 30 years behind. So in other words, I'll be doing someone will be doing some abstract mathematical, developing theorems and lemmas and all this stuff. And they're like, there's no use for this. But then 30 years later, they're like, oh, actually,
This guy was
I can
making
use
sense.
this. So like the obvious example is Einstein. All of the theory of relativity is using what's called a Riemannian geometry, which was developed like 40 years later with no obvious applications. They were like, this is just silly, like you're puzzle solving effectively.
Yeah.
But then later, Einstein needed some sort of framework for it, and he realized that it fit perfectly. And that's not the only example; it's just the biggest one. So that's for math, but that's also for the high end of math. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I forget how we got here.
We're
but-
basically talking about physics and like applicableness of it. Because like gravity, shit like that, motion.
Yeah. Oh, I was just defending math. That's
You
what I
were.
was doing.
He's
Yeah.
going to do that a bunch this podcast, I imagine. But yeah,
Uh-huh.
science, another one that I think is. Jeez. Important is anatomy, which I guess kind of falls similarly into biology.
Oh yeah, I was kind of thinking that some of this.
Yeah, I mean, biology is like what's going on inside me. Anatomy is similar, but it's like more like skeletal, right?
Anatomy
Muscular.
is just literally it's almost like what are your body parts?
Yeah.
List them. I mean, anatomy is virtually just memorization. You memorize the huge or as
Well,
many
then
as
let's
you can.
toss it. Fuck anatomy.
What?
Let's toss it. If it's strictly memorization, I vote no anatomy.
Okay. But you can't be there. You can't be like, God, I hurt my. Oh, let me Google. My knee. I hurt my knee.
Okay, but like you didn't know what your fucking knee was until you
But
took
know what it
anatomy in
is.
high school.
All right, if you don't learn anatomy, you're gonna be like, God, I have a pain in my stomach.
I didn't. I've never taken anatomy in my life.
But you took biology, which probably included a good chunk of anatomy.
There were separate classes in
Really?
my high school, yeah.
Oh, okay. They
And
weren't
I
in
took
my high
fucking
school.
chemistry instead of anatomy.
Yeah, I think it could be mushed in with biology.
I think
I don't
biology
think it
is
deserves
strictly
it.
like your cells, like literally like your.
My biology was a mix.
mean,
I'm just
we
saying,
had
like my high
tons of-
school. It was like some of that cellular stuff, some just like these are the body parts and what they do. I had a weird blend,
Yeah, no.
which I think is good because you're right. I don't think anatomy needs its own class, nor do I think the cellular level of biology needs its own class in high school. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, mine did get pretty specific.
Yeah. So I think you mush those two together.
But I do like knowing that stuff. I don't
me
know.
too.
I don't even know that stuff. I just know the buzzwords like, enzymes.
Mitosis.
Oh, man.
Love
Photosynthesis.
mitosis.
Oh, is photosynthesis biology, right?
Yeah.
I guess you learned about plants. Yeah, that was part of it.
Yeah.
I also had a pretty rough biology teacher, not a great lady.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What do you mean? What's wrong with her?
She sucked. She would like lie and like lose our shit and blame us and was like really, really mean. It was a big issue. Like parents had to get involved because she was so not equipped for the job. We had a couple of those teachers at my high school. My chemistry teacher was a good teacher. I'll give her that. Like she really did care about chemistry. She was it was just a hard class. Like
Yeah.
it was unnecessarily hard. And like my physics teacher, she cared but like couldn't control the room, and we had like 35 people in AP physics, and I want to say maybe like 5 cared. It got to the point where she was like, please just don't talk and be in the back if you don't want to pay attention, but like the 5 of you get up here.
That's
It's
so
pretty
funny.
brutal. Yeah.
Dude, I had I took biology my freshman year, and there were lab tables, so it was like 4 people to a table. You know what I mean, in the classroom. And after the first semester, my teacher, comes in the first day of the next semester, and she's like, "All right, we're gonna change up the seatings today." The seating change was that the 3 people at my table left and were assigned to other tables, and I was left with my own table.
And that's
And I went up to her and I was like, "Why am I the only person with my own table?"
she's like, you fucking know damn well why.
No, she's like, "Because you just fuck around too much." It's like, so you got your own table, you can pay attention or whatever, but you won't be ruining it for other people.
Yeah, because you definitely were.
Mm-hmm.
Next subject would be math.
Be math. I have look. You need virtually all high school math.
Yeah. No, math is pretty important.
You do.
I would put it. We should be ranking these honestly,
We should be.
and I would almost put math maybe number 1.
Probably up there with history is up there.
Yeah, I would say math is better than
Math
history.
is more
though.
important. You use
No.
math more.
It depends on your like.
On your day-to-day life, math is better. Because like even
I literally use math like every day.
yeah, and even people. I actually got in an argument with a lady. She was saying that you don't need algebra, that you could stop before that. You
A
just
lady.
need to add. And I was like, okay, you earn a salary, you get paid every 2 weeks, and you want to know how much you're going to get paid in 3 weeks. That's algebra.
Yeah.
You're already in algebra. Like it's you.
Math is important.
You need
I mean,
math.
we have computers, but you still need to know what to plug in and like.
You need to know what to plug in, and even yeah.
I think maybe though, in the future, you might just be able to talk to something and ask it what things are, and
But
like
it would even be hard if you're not vaguely familiar with math. It would even be hard to ask it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it gets really tough. I mean,
Because you have to know the words, right? Like if you don't know what
well,
an angle is.
well, that's yeah. Like, what's the angle of this?
Yeah.
But like, I guess in an applicable sense, like, why would you need to know that? I don't know. It gets really rabbit
You're
hole.
building a cabinet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Math comes up everywhere. But my experience was, for much of math, after high school, I should say, was that I didn't learn anything in the classroom. Like literally in my class, and this is kind of where I got this idea, most of my college math classes were just, they were pointing me to the things I should study. I never was like, oh, I learned this in class. It was always like I just learned it on my own later.
Yeah.
Like I was never was I enlightened in the classroom. They just told me the topic, and I got it, and I was like, this is what the test is on. I had a rough idea, and then I would go figure it out later.
I mean, some people learned in class, but I agreed. Like, high school math, if you weren't someone who struggled, was pretty easily done by yourself if you could figure it out. I was okay with math. I kind of struggled with physics, and then I started taking Adderall, and physics became like pretty fucking easy. I don't know.
Here's a class that I think should be mandatory in high school, but isn't, is statistics. Especially in the
I think
age
finance
of big
in
data.
just general should be
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't even think of it as respect to finance, but yeah,
a similar vibe,
statistics,
like how to
similar
do
vibe, yeah.
shit, like percentages, stuff
But
like that.
In the age of big data, every news report you read, they're just spitting statistics at you.
Yeah.
And if you don't have at least somewhat of an understanding of it, you can be easily swayed with these numbers being thrown
A
at
quick blanket over your eyes with just some big numbers and
go
stats.
check out our episode Statistics and Things for a deeper dive.
A deeper dive into statistics.
That's one of our worst performing episodes. I think just because statistics is in the name.
Yeah, I'm sure that gets a huge SEO bump on YouTube. People just Googling statistics and things.
Yeah.
Oh, well, we need to get a YouTube manager to bump up our...
When we hit 100 subscribers, we'll worry about that.
You told me we'd get a mic mixer when we hit like 10 videos. I'm still waiting.
We're at 11. This is 12. We'll go. I mean, we've just got this so good.
Yeah, this is
I did
fun.
I did someone else's podcast, and he had the whole setup.
Where you could like hear each other.
You could hear each other, and I was like, oh, this is nice. I do like this.
Dang.
It was good.
I mean, I feel like I hear you just fine.
Yeah, like this is fine. When you had the over ears, I feel like it might have been more of a struggle.
Yeah.
But these are fine.
No, we're
Even
chilling.
if they throw off our fits a little bit, dude. Like, what is this?
I mean, I'm looking sharp today,
Yeah.
actually.
You are.
We had clients.
But I just mean you look sharper if you didn't have
a dangling
the
headphones.
dangling wire.
Oh, well.
Although,
sorry.
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say math stays.
Math stays, obviously. But I do think it should be switched up a little bit. Something else I hate about math is that, particularly in high school, goes away a little bit in college, you have to get the answer their way.
Yeah, that's always so
Drives me
annoying.
bananas. Like it's such a dumb approach. Like if a person manages to take a problem and figure it out their own way, that's more impressive, I think. Obviously, I'm bitter about this.
I think
so I'm biased.
That kind of goes back. You're almost like backtracking though, because they want to teach you a specific way so that you know that way.
Yeah, but if you were able to figure it out on your own.
But that's not like how learning works. Like they don't want you to just figure out the easiest way. They want you to just figure out their way. So that it's almost like history of math. If you want to get philosophical about it.
I think if you manage to figure it out your own way, you end up usually with a better understanding of what's going on
Maybe
than if you follow the steps laid out for you. Because you can kind of put the blinders on and just be like, I recognize this problem, step 1, step 2, step 3, and you can get the right answer without actually understanding what's going on underneath. If you've done it your own way, odds are, I'm not saying in every case, but odds are you kind of had to figure out the spirit of the question. You know what I mean?
I hear what you're saying, but like think back to what you said with the Einstein, right? And like how he needed to learn that thing previous to know how to do this other thing. It's like that's the point. They want to teach you the way to do this the right way, or at least one way, so that you have that perspective.
I hear what you're saying.
Because it's at the end of the day, I agree. It's annoying when like you plug in an answer, especially like when you plug it in and it's you typed it. The answer, but it's like missing a comma or some bullshit. Like that was always super annoying.
That's just dumb software.
Yeah, or even like when I've seen that happen where it's like you got the right answer, but it's like wrong because you did it wrong, which is annoying in like a classroom test example. But I get what the point is to teach their way.
Saying. That's a good point.
Yeah, that's the whole point of this podcast, man.
Yeah.
We're spitting fucking facts. We got smooth rhymes and
good times here at the Moose Lounge. They did not see that one.
I know, dude. I've been sneaking them in. I thought I got a little too obvious, so I got excited. But
no, I didn't. I wasn't expecting.
Nice.
That was good.
Yeah, here at the Moose Lounge. If you made it this far, congrats. That's our
But yeah,
Easter egg.
I had many classes where I had like
this is horrible spelling.
I would get the answers right, but then had like a C in the class because I did it my way instead of
a
the
little Frank
teacher's
Sinatra there.
dumb way. What?
I did it my way. This one gets a little
What's the next one?
less high school-ish, because I don't think any high school really teaches astronomy, but it just came up and it was part of my Google, and I think it is funny that it's a class.
Yeah, definitely not a mandatory one.
Keep it the fuck out.
No. An elective, sure, that's fun.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Hey.
Or if you want to go that way.
It's.
But now,
I don't think
silly.
it needs. I don't even want to talk about it
Your
anymore.
astronomy class should be that you download that app where you point your phone and it tells you what everything is in the class.
Yeah,
in the
which
sky,
is a sick app.
and then
I
you-
love that app.
You get an A. That's it. That's the
Download that
end.
app. This one is kind of ridiculous that it was semi-mandatory, at least in my high school, was art. Like, I get it, but not everyone's great. Like, to be part of mine was art history, which is the dumbest class to be graded on.
Yeah.
Forced graded
Art
on
history,
art. Are you
pretty silly.
kidding me?
Yeah.
Like,
If it was important enough art, it would be in the history
I had to
class.
like memorize this person did this, but like, are you shitting? Like, that is
That's
so
dumb.
dumb. I should be learning
agree.
like how to do taxes.
Yeah.
Not who painted it based off this style. Like, it was so stupid. Our art teacher was insane. Like, she was like a crazy art teacher lady, like classic basically. And I just like, in the moment as a 17-year-old, I was like, why am I taking this class? Like, why am I forced to take art? Looking back as a 27-year-old, I'm like, why the fuck did I take that class? Like, that's so stupid. Like, the art part was fine. Like,
Yeah.
as long as you tried, you got graded fine.
Yeah, I
Like,
think that's fair.
It
Because
is.
I think a lot of the high school classes are just helping the kids figure out what they're
butt
good
it
at.
out. Yeah, like, yo, you think if someone finds their passion, and I bet you some kids did, because art is cool. But to be half the year was art history, and I was like, why?
I do think it's
So dumb, dude. I hated it.
I agree that the correct way is to be like, you tried, and like that's how you grade art class.
As long as you're giving
Of course.
effort.
But I think it's very funny to imagine the teacher that's like, this is shit, you
Right.
fail.
It's-
like what trivial derivative. Like,
C
they
minus.
don't like your painting, so they destroy your GPA. Like, that's so-
Right.
there's something very funny to me about
You
that.
don't
They're
get
like,
into your dream school because
Yeah,
you
you
couldn't
don't-
like make a pot.
Yeah, you don't get into Harvard because you couldn't draw the vase correctly. Like that's what held you back.
your bananas were a little too
Yeah.
sharp.
Bananas curve. Look at these straight bananas.
Shading is shit. You'll never
Community
do
college
anything.
for you.
But I like I said, agreed. Art is definitely a cool class to. I think it's important in high schools to have like those. I would have loved to take like a wood shop or something like that. We just had art.
Yeah, which would have been cool.
But-
I agree. I don't think art history should be taught anywhere, college or beyond. People have degrees in it.
Nah,
but in
think it's-
identifying who made what
you
painting,
just said like as an elective, that's fine. Like if people want to study art
I
history,
really
that's
don't
totally
even think
cool.
it should be in there.
Well,
Art
if you want to be
history-
an artist, it's important, like you said, to get a perspective on things. It's all about perspective.
yeah, but you get
baby.
into art, and if their work is good enough, you find out who they are.
You get inspired. You get
Yeah.
inspired by shit.
Yeah,
And so
like
then,
in math, when they're teaching you the formulas, they don't say this was developed by Pythagoras. You know what I mean? Like they don't do that.
they
You
do,
just-
dude. Half the shits are their name. It's like Pythagorean theorem.
No,
was probably,
Pythagoras did a bunch of other stuff that you don't know was him. Just that one theorem.
just the one that he
you don't.
fucking.
You think you
named.
know about Pythagoras? You don't know about Pythagoras.
I mean, I know his name, which is ridiculous.
which
I don't
is
know.
huge. But like Gauss, you know who Gauss is? A bunch of the
No.
shit you did was Gauss. You didn't find out about him.
I mean, I feel like I know the important math guys. Important enough
Gauss is maybe the most important math guy
to you.
to the world.
Art's more
The normal
important to me.
distribution is Gauss. Like the bell curve, that's him.
Well, he should have named it the Gauss curve, and then I
No,
would know
the
his fucking
point
name.
is, the point is, it's not about him. It's about the shit he did. This is my problem with art history.
But art is about
Imagine
the
a
person.
math history class. How dumb that would be. You don't learn the math.
Art's a
you
little
just
more
learn
personal,
the names,
dude. Because
right?
you can't put your personality into some math. Like you discover
Yeah,
shit.
you can.
You kind of can, but it's not like you're discovering. You know, in art you're creating. In math you're discovering. In
That
a
is
sense.
a deep philosophical debate that I don't think you can say with so much confidence.
I mean, it's not like you're creating new math.
well, what's that old saying? Like, I didn't sculpt an elephant. I just removed all the parts that weren't an elephant. The elephant wasn't there. By that logic, you're just discovering the elephant within the marble. The point is,
Jesus.
you can't say that so definitively.
I guess I can't say it definitively, but I feel like you can definitely get the average bear can get a little more personable with art than they can with math.
The average what?
The average bear. It's just like a
Bear?
thing I say. The average moose, like the average human, like the.
Oh,
yeah.
okay. We'll say human. Too.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like the average bear
I
is.
thought you were trying to make a point that like bears understand art, but not math.
The average bear. Is that a
that a real-
saying?
is that a real
the
saying?
average bear meaning.
I've never heard that before.
Just a person who is not unusual in any way. For example,
Is that common? People
I
say
mean,
that? You knew it, I guess. Like,
what does the average bear mean?
I've never heard that phrase.
Used in comparisons, no smarter than the average bear. Yeah. Fuck yeah, dude. I love when Google's just like, dude, you're right.
No, that's cool, I guess. I'm just surprised. I'd never heard of that.
Well, on that note, I guess history is kind of important.
I guess, yeah. Does that fall under history, or does that have? There's a difference. I would
Meme
say
history.
there's a difference between history and shit that happened. Like they gotta draw a line somewhere. Do you want another drink before we continue?
Yeah, I guess I can riff while you're gone.
Yeah, riff. Dude, go for the solo. This is you can try out a solo podcast. Right
Wow. What's up, guys? It's your boy. Hold on, let
Tim
me just
Dillon.
finish that. Oh, Tim Dillon.
Yeah, Tim Dillon. I'm gay, but you can't tell.
Yeah, I am gay, but you can't tell. And you know what? I've just been really pissed off lately. I haven't been pissed off. I've been living good, dude. I mean, I'm in a bowling league. I just bowled a 205 yesterday, and that was my best bowl ever. I've been really striving to beat 200, so that was kind of a personal feat of mine. Told a bunch of people about it, like my mom, my dad, my brother's girlfriend, and her mom, and my brother. That was the group chat. Told the homies as well. I feel like sometimes I'll get a little too drunk, or maybe hit the ball zizzle, and I'll just fire out texts because I'm lonely. But I'm chilling here, and I'm like, I like being alone, but you know, it's just nice to feel received sometimes. That's why this podcast is nice. I just chat with Eddie, and then, you know, we put it online and no one watches. But it's fine. It's almost like better that way. If people started watching, I might get more conscious. Might have to hide the views, like, to bring it back in. I was bowling, and I wanted to break 200. Like I said, it had been my goal for a while. And I was going to the 9th frame. I knew it was close, and I didn't look. And I bowled a 9 on the 10th frame. I bowled a 9 on the 10th frame. And then I picked up the spare without looking at my score. And then I was like, fuck it, I'll look. And I had a 196. So I needed to get a 4, which is so easy. Like, I bowled like a pretty good game. And I was shaking like a goddamn leaf. You gotta shut that.
I will.
And I fucking hit it. So, no biggie. No biggie. And now my boy's back, and I can tell someone about it. And that's...
Talking about getting laid.
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
Honestly,
Is that what you hit?
better than getting laid. I was talking about bowling the 205.
Yeah, I came in and you're like, I hit it.
I hit
was
it
like,
good,
it must be
dude.
him getting laid.
Nah, it was better, honestly. I'll remember that. Not bet more than probably every nut, but like, I'll definitely remember unless I become like a pro bowler, and that just becomes like such a regular thing. But I don't know, first 200.
First 200.
For someone who, like, you know, I don't bowl, but I
Yes, you do.
I guess, like, it's not like I'm bowling weekly practicing or anything. Like,
Yeah, you don't practice.
yeah, and you know, it's like I would say I golf more than I bowl. Maybe, I don't know.
It's close. It's very close.
Yeah, it is. But like, golfing is way more involved.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I have to like do
I
bowling
like
is
golfing
easy.
way more than bowling.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. It's a similar like vibe.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're just like doing. Golfing is like super. I don't know. There's like a lot more variety. Like, there's so much that could go on.
Yeah. Oh, of course.
Limitless. Bowling is like so much
So
could happen.
little variety.
Yeah, like
You don't even move from the same spot.
no,
Yeah.
like there's cool shit that happens in bowling, but like, especially if you're really good. That's where I think bowling and like darts become a little trivial. Darts a little less, but bowling, it's like at the highest level of bowling, aren't they just getting strikes every time?
Yeah, isn't it?
Well, they don't. Like, that's the thing. That their scores are like 280 to 300.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, that famous clip where the guy's like, "Who do you think you are?" He actually retired like last week.
Oh, I
From
did. I saw
PBA,
that.
yeah.
It was a big deal. Yeah.
And he had another clip. He was like, "Love me or hate me, You won't. You still watched because that was all you could do.
It's a good line, dude.
And,
Way too hard of a line for bowling.
They're like,
So
how does
good.
this bowling guy have two of the hardest quotes of all time?
You think
Love me
he's,
or
like,
hate
at
me,
home
you still
thinking of
watch
them?
because
You think
that
he
was all you
writes
could
them?
do. Yeah, right. He's just got a fucking notebook of lines, sick lines. Well, that line, I think we've even talked about it. Like he mistakenly said that. Like that was not what he. Who do you think you are? I am. It was supposed to say something like a normal line because that makes
Okay.
no fucking
Yeah, it
sense.
doesn't really make
And
sense.
he also says it to like a 15-year-old. That's who he's beating, which is even better. Like that makes it so much funnier.
Well, dude, there's probably bowling is probably like chess, where like the age categories aren't as telling as something like basketball. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well,
Like
for
you
sure.
could probably have a heated match with a 16.
Whenever you're not touching the other person, there's definitely like
Yeah,
not
suddenly
much of an
age is
age.
less important.
yeah.
Yeah.
As soon as physical contact is immediately eliminated, I can't think of any sport where you're not touching each other. Well, I guess like volleyball and tennis
physical. Like bowling, I know is physical to some degree.
and
It's
golf.
more about
Golf is a good example.
Yeah,
Like,
golf is a good example. Like those sports are more about being.
I'm like, I can't think of any sport. The sport
one
we've just
where
been
I
chatting
play the
about.
most, yeah.
All right. Well, the next study or the next
study.
language.
The next
God.
language, the next subject, school subjects.
The next subject is the study of language. Is basically what I was trying to say.
Uh-huh.
Which I guess you could kind of boil down to English, language, English. Well, yeah. I think
Yeah,
what I was
let's
trying to
do
say here,
English.
actually, because I remember Googling it, was like different languages, like Spanish, Italian. Like
Oh, okay.
learning a
Those are
different
two
language.
different things. Which one do you want to talk about?
Well, English and language, I think, should be categorized in the same.
Yeah, but like
So, we'll do-
there's a difference between your native language and
Let's do
learning
English.
Okay. So, yeah. So for English,
I think it's important.
yeah, I think it's important.
I
I
would vote
don't
yes.
know how. All of it does not strike me as important. Like you ever do that thing where you got to draw the line under the sentence and then like a diet.
Well,
I fucking still don't know how that works. I don't think I ever totally grasped it.
I think there are good English teachers and really bad English teachers, and
Yeah.
the bad ones like are losers that want English done their way. Like
Uh-huh.
you can be grammatically correct, but like still be wrong in a specific English teacher's mind. A good English teacher wants to teach you like about literature, like people who
Yeah.
wrote shit, like almost in an art form, but like you're learning like styles basically, and then like grammar. Grammar's just fucking
Yeah.
important, like how to talk.
Just so your sentences make sense when you write them.
Exactly. And like how to
yeah.
properly form good words and like learning vocabulary. I don't think spelling is nearly as important as
Not anymore.
exactly.
Yeah.
It's like it was important, but now it's not. And like I agree that like you need a basis of spelling, but like you don't need to know how to spell hard words. Like
Yeah, that's definitely not as
no.
important.
But
And,
like
the-
vocab is cool. Like
Vocab-
learning new words is important.
I think vocab is wildly under.
I love vocab actually. That was one of my favorite like
I used
semi
to
subjects.
I used to teach high school, and I would always tell them like the only thing stopping you from reading like the most advanced scientific publication within biology, for example, is just vocab.
Yeah.
It's the only problem. Like vocab is
And that's a good example of like
Yeah.
intense vocab, but like on a smaller scale. Like
yeah,
just,
but that's quick. 'Cause people look at that and they're like, oh, it's so out of my reach. It's just words you got to
Yeah.
learn. It's other subjects like physics and math. It's a little bit more.
Yeah.
But for outside of that, the only thing stopping you from reaching the edge of human knowledge on that topic is just your vocabulary.
yeah. I heard a really good word the other day. Have you ever heard of the word verklept? Well, I'm just so verklept.
I have, but I couldn't tell you what it means.
It's almost like breathless. Like I'm taken
Okay.
aback.
Yeah.
I saw like a funny TikTok video of this woman who got proposed to at Waffle House, and she was like a lovely Southern woman. And at the end, she's like, "Oh, Johnson, you just got me so verklept." And everyone in the comments was just like, "Well, that's a new fucking word I just learned."
Verklept.
And I looked it up, and it's like to be taken aback.
Uh-huh.
Like it's apparently a very Southern word. It does sound Southern for whatever reason, but
Yeah.
that's why vocab is I think cool because like I just love that once it's been decided this word means this, you can use it. I think I don't want to say like we're making up words as a generation, but I think it's cool that we give meaning to words and it sticks. Like
Yeah. Well, that's all words. That's what it came
exactly,
about. Yeah, yeah.
and that's how vocab essentially is. But I think our generation, not necessarily ours, like even a younger, but the younger the generations, they just seem to be making up new words quicker than the previous. Or sayings, I don't know.
Yeah.
Shit
I
just
know- I
moves
guess I don't
quicker
know.
now.
Yeah.
Because like back then, let's say 20 years ago, someone started saying a saying. It's not like it caught viral and like
True, it can
everyone
only
started
travel
saying
by
it.
word of mouth.
Yeah,
whereas
like
now
that.
can
Maybe
travel on the
it
internet.
goes popular amongst your group, but now it's
Yeah.
like things catch on so quickly for 2 weeks, but they still have that meaning. Like a thought is a good example. Like everyone used to say thought, oh thoughty. No one says that. At least in my, I don't fucking know. Maybe they still say it, but like you still know what a thought is.
I know what a thought is.
Yeah,
but
and
I
it's
don't
like
say it.
I feel like nowadays words just come out of nowhere. It's hilarious. Words and meanings. Like I'm like blanking almost on some, but I mean,
Selfie is the obvious example.
yeah, but that one's almost like too mainstream. Like gyat. Do you know what gyat means?
I do know.
Yeah.
Like their ass, right?
Yeah, basically she's got a fat ass, or I think
saw
that's how it's said.
I saw a meme the other day, and it's like Ozempic. It was like a girl with a fat ass, and then her later with a skinny ass, and like Ozempic is causing a apocalypse, a apocalypse, whatever, however he spelled it.
Gyat apocalypse. Okay, so language and English stays.
Yeah.
I guess on that note, we'll stick with like foreign language, Spanish.
language.
I don't know.
I think this depends hugely on the country you live in,
Correct.
because for better or worse, the international language of business is English.
Yes.
So if you live in a foreign country, it behooves you in a variety of ways to learn English. It definitely behooves you in the U.S. and in England or in other places to learn other languages, but not to quite the same degree.
I think it depends on also where you live, though. If you live down in like Miami and you don't
Yeah.
speak Spanish, like it's definitely gonna be not a hardship. Kind of like when I was down there,
Yeah.
dude. Like not a lot of people, like Uber stuff like that. They were mostly
No, it's
speaking Spanish. And
Definitely helps. And
I
you're
was
right.
I was honestly shocked. Like I was like, wow, this is a really heavy and like I'd never been to Miami before, so it was kind of my first time experiencing a part of America that felt dominated by another language. It was kind of cool because like there were billboards in Spanish, and you see billboards in New York that are in like Chinese and Spanish sometimes. And I was like, I guess that's because this is it makes sense. Like they must be doing it if it's their heavy demographic. But I was just surprised to see like predominant Spanish down in Miami. It was like really fun. I loved Miami, honestly. We were only there for a day and we were so hungover after a cruise in spring break. But
Yeah.
I had a really good time, and I was like, wow, I would definitely want to learn Spanish if I lived here. Like it feels really important.
No, it is good. It is good, but there is definitely a difference depending on where. Like if the international language of
English
business
is-
was Spanish, we would all need to learn Spanish. if we
I
wanted
wish
to
I
do
spoke
business.
Spanish, honestly.
Sorry.
Your Spanish is not terrible.
Yeah, I can like talk to someone and
Mm.
make my point, but if they talk to me like I'm anything more than a 9-year-old, I lose them. Cannot
Mm. You
keep
become
up
like a
anymore.
4-year-old.
They need to talk slow, despacio, por favor.
Por favor.
That was the phrase I used most in Mexico. I was like, despacio, por favor. It just means slowly, please.
I think that was understood. All right, next subject. Wait, are we keeping language?
If I was to be honest, I don't think it's totally mandatory if it's an English-speaking country. I think it's good, but I think it should be elective. Unless, actually, I take it
No,
back.
I think
Latin. Because Latin helps with vocab.
No, Latin's not.
No, because it goes back to vocab.
Sure, then teach
Knowing
it as part of a
Latin,
vocab.
You can discern what words mean
I
without knowing them.
think you should give it as a mandatory elective to pick from like 4 or so languages, like
Well, it's
Spanish,
already like
French.
that. That's what
Yeah,
I'm saying,
I think that's how it should be, because like sometimes you could, find a passion in another language, and I don't know. I don't think it ever hurts.
I think so far we've said that every single subject needs to stay.
No,
What did we say had to go?
we kicked off certain parts of history. we destroyed anatomy.
Well, we said it should be mushed into biology, much like my high school class. Yeah. I think we're just being like, you know what? The education system, they nailed it.
No.
They've got it down.
Dude, we got rid of art history.
Oh, art history.
So fucking
Yes.
fast. And don't you worry, I think this next one of music, I think music is not needed.
Yeah.
That's
definitely
one
should
that
be
you can
elective.
take in college.
Yeah. Or just elective. You choose to take it if you want.
Yeah, I guess that would maybe go back to the language then. I might have to switch.
I think language should be elective. I think it's really good if you do it. I don't think it's like you have to learn. You know what I mean?
I feel like it's way more important than like music or art.
Art history for sure.
Yeah.
Art I like just because there's that potential of
Music's
discovering something within you.
No, art. We agree. Art history. Music though, it's like feels way too difficult to find. Like
and when you
the
get to high
perfect
school,
match.
you already know if you have an aptitude for music. You're not gonna figure out at 19.
I remember having to take music,
18.
and I want to say it was music history. Like we were definitely not. Like I had to play the recorder, but like that was when I was in middle school. Like in high school, music was like music history, like the study music. Like not very.
I had
fun.
I had to take music as well. It was a good music class though. It was about musical theory, which basically tells you like how songs are structured and stuff, and you have to make your own song using GarageBand at the end. Huh. My song sucked, but according to musical theory, I checked all the boxes.
Yeah, you got a fucking A+.
Maybe I'll find it and put it on this. It's on my Facebook from like 2011. I posted it. I was like, "This is gonna be a hit.
This is gonna
fucking the dumbest shit ever." I was just putting on tracks, and I'm like, "Oh, there needs to be a bridge. Let's remove." It was dumb.
All right, well that was the last one I had. So I guess we just removed art history.
Art history, well, music should be elective, we say, and possibly language should be the second language. Point is, you're doing a great job out there.
You guys are crushing it, America.
Keep it up. The sign off from the Moose Lounge on the way you're running things. It's because when you're in high school, you're so bitter about all these things. You're like,
but then you're looking back.
Any of this shit.
Well, like we said, some parts of math are dumb.
Sure, like you definitely shouldn't be mandatory.
Geometry feels really useless.
Really?
Like in my current life, I'm not using a lot of geometry. I don't think.
Yeah, I don't know.
How many angles am I complicated? Like, you know, the shit I was learning was just like.
All right, what if you wanted to see? I suppose you have a tree in your lawn, and you wanted to see if it would fall on your house. Geometry.
But like literally, it would all be like practical geometry.
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah. Well, all of these classes could be boiled down to practical.
And I feel like anything, like, first of all, I'm not fucking doing anything. If there's a tree possibly falling on my house, I'm calling a tree removal.
But also, here's the thing with math. The one thing
I'm not handling
I like about
that.
math
Or you? Because you took AP geometry, you're like, oh, guys, I fucking got this.
Well, I'm not saying you decide whether or not it needs to be chopped down. I'm not saying it helps you chop it down.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like anything that involves like high level geometry, there's someone that I'm probably gonna have to hire that like also knows the other things other than the math.
Yes, but then you gotta make a decision to call them at some point. How do you make that decision?
Not with geometry.
What are you making it with then? How do you know you need to call them?
Because I'm looking at this tree,
and
I'm like, wow.
And you're figuring out how tall it is and where it might land if it fell. If the angle of the tree to the ground changed to 0,
you think I'm busting out my protractor, getting numbers, and like doing the geometry? Or do you think I'm just looking at it? I'm like, kind of looks like it's gonna hit my.
Well, you know the trick. You know the trick is you get like a pen or a pencil, and you like move it relative to your face so that it's the same size as the tree, and then you have a good sense of where.
In what world does it even matter if the tree look like I'm calling someone to get rid of the tree anyway?
Well, no. In this scenario, you're deciding whether or not you need to call someone to get rid of it.
Again, I'm probably going to call someone and be like, do you think I need to get, in your professional opinion, should I get rid of this tree? I'm like trusting.
You think the guy who gets paid to remove trees is going to recommend you don't remove a tree?
If I'm even thinking about it and I have to do math, there's no way I'm trusting my math. There's no way my future partner is going to be like, oh, you know what, honey? You did some good numbers out there. You're right. I don't think the tree's hitting. It's like, fuck that.
Something funny. We had this big tree over our driveway, and it would drop these little, I don't know what kind of tree it was, but it was like these little circular fruits. And one day it gave my little brother, Lewis, it gave him a black eye because it fell from the tree, and he was like looking up, hit his eye. And my dad went out there with a fury and took this tree down. He was beating the tree up for giving Lewis a black eye.
How dare you hit my son
a black eye?
Your brother was probably like sitting there like so proud of his dad.
It's so funny to vindictively take down a tree just to bring it down. But my last defense of geometry is that math in general up through high school is good because math teaches you how to think in a way that other subjects don't. A lot of other subjects are memorization, whereas math is like, these are our axioms, these are the basic rules we have to deal with, and you got to construct everything else out
I
of
agree.
it. Which is a good way to think about stuff. So even if you didn't use geometry, some kind of, it doesn't have to be geometry, but some kind of math should
I
be
think
in
like
there.
critical thinking is almost like a better
But like that's
subject.
what math is at its core.
Yeah.
Math is the axiomatic approach, which is what most of logic is now, is all just from
I guess
math.
just we got really specific with some things in math where like I really could have appreciated some, I know this is so cliche, but like learning how to do taxes and shit like that was not
Yeah.
taught.
But taxes isn't really math. That's like how do you
I know, but like
work
they focused so
the
hard on some
interface of
specifics of
TurboTax.
math. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like,
And also, I think that one of the things with taxes is that it changes a lot.
just
So it's
like
a little
basic though,
bit
and like basic finances, stuff like that, like how to handle finances. I just feel like we got really specific into like finding the areas of triangles and shit like that, where we could have been a little more broad scheme.
But I think that the
just got really- it
way
got really
of
specific.
thinking where you find those areas is like it's way more broadly applicable. Versus if I tell you you got to file state, like I think you should learn those things, of course. But
Well, I didn't.
no, me either. I had to figure them out.
I could have used some
eventually.
sex ed. How
But
about
also,
that?
dude, we've been talking about this whole time. Shit's easy to find on Google. This is very easy to find on Google. And now with TurboTax, we're
What
not
is this, an
sponsored-
ad?
We're not sponsored by them.
And now
But
it's
now with
TurboTax.
TurboTax, you don't have to know a thing. Sit back and let TurboTax.
Shut up,
get
dude.
you the
We're not giving them
best.
free sponsors right now.
This is
Fuck
how we
that.
get our first sponsor.
No, this
they will
is
get
not.
You the optimal
There's no
return
shot
for you.
I feel like you don't have jokes for us tonight.
I totally forgot when we were setting up.
It's all good.
What I was thinking, we each do one joke.
I thought I had joke. I maybe have one on my phone, but
Well, I was going to say, I have a new impression joke I was going to do. And why don't you do the mini golf impression joke?
okay.
You do know it?
I know.
Okay. All right, I'll do mine first.
All right, you go.
Today
crazy.
I hosted an open mic, and I did my that impression you're about to do, and then every time I went up to introduce the next comedian, I just kept thinking of new impressions. They were all along those lines, and so I was just doing them. All right. Sorry to be late on the jokes. I know this is.
It's all good. It's all good.
This is what gets us subscribers on YouTube. is the
Yeah, this
jokes.
is our money
This is our
cow
main
right
thing,
here.
So we gotta.
all
Well,
good.
some of the clips do well.
Hey, this was a
the problem is the clips are harder to make because you have to watch the episode and find them. Whereas
Wow.
jokes, I'm just like,
The
boom, cut.
the problem
go.
is that I don't make clips.
Dude, if you made some, we could really be moving here.
I need to
We're
take more Adderall and smoke less weed. That's a clip right there.
Oh, here's something. I've been eating one meal a day for the last few days, just like dinner.
Mm.
And I've not been smoking weed until after I've done comedy and everything. And God, I feel like I'm going insane. Even right now, like my brain just feels too fast. You know what I mean?
Gotta
I'm
slow
excited to
that
smoke
shit
weed.
down,
This is the
dude.
last thing I have to do before I can smoke weed today. But I like it. But I'm like, oh, this is why I smoke weed. I'm like, thank you to fucking everything.
All right, let's hear this
All
joke.
right. This is my new impression. This is my impression of sorry, let me start that over.
Yeah, that sucked.
Also, I think we should do this to each other. I think it looks
Dude, I
better.
stare at you so often, and you're
Yeah.
constantly looking away.
This is my impression of a guy who's playing strip poker with a girl he's just not that into. I fold.
That's pretty funny. That was good.
Thanks.
I guess I'm all in.
All in, I fold.
Yeah, all in. I
Very-
fold. I
That's the
quit.
biggest insult. You're in strip poker. People are folding. They're like, I don't want to see that. You could. I would rather take my own clothes off than see you naked.
You bet 95% of your pot. She calls, you just fold.
Oh, dude, I've
out.
been watching Impractical Jokers episodes, and they do this one. It's called Strip High Five, where the two of the guys. It's like a competition. They are in a public place and they have to high five people walking by. But if the people don't high five them, they have to take off an article of clothing.
That's awesome.
Such a funny idea.
They have some good ones.
They are so good because, like, you know, like they really don't want to take.
They
off their
really
clothes.
want that high
They're doing
five.
this one in Washington Square Park, and so they're like begging people for high fives, and the people are just ignoring them walking by. I was cracking up. It was so good.
I saw a really funny Ricky Gervais like video, or it was like part of a show, I think. He's walking by these like animal or it was for children, like homeless children, like people that are asking for money, ASPCA, whatever. Then the vests, and they're like, "Oh, can you please donate to homeless children?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, not right now." And they're like, "Oh, do you hate homeless children?" And he's like, "No, I just don't. I have other stuff going on right now. Like, I got bigger things to do, bigger fish to fry." They're like, "Bigger fish to fry than homeless children." It's like, buddy, you're being an asshole right now. I don't want to talk to you. And then he walks by this like older lady who's not saying anything, begging for money. He goes, "Hey, pal." Middle finger, puts the money in that woman's jar. I fucking love that because it pisses me off so much when those people like track you down on the street. I'll make a half eye contact and they're like, "Hey, you want to donate to these dying animals?" I'm like, "Not right now." They're like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, whoa! What if I do a little dance, huh? Like, what do you like? I'm not fucking giving you money."
Dude, I was on a run once and one of those people stopped me.
Oh my God.
And I kind of like, they were nice and I was jiving with them a little. And I was like, I don't have my cards on me. I'm on a run. And I was like, I think I remember the code or like the number. And so I did. I remembered the whole number.
Your credit card number?
Yeah. And I read it out to them and I knew the expiration date. And they're like, "All right, what's the code?" And I was like, I can't remember. I thought I kind of guessed at
You
what
had
it
them
was.
going for like a half mile at this point?
Dude, it was going on so long. And
Were you running or were you stopped?
No. They stopped
I
me.
thought you were.
No, God, no.
You're like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I just can't remember the codes."
Stop me. The girl was kind of cute too. It helped, but like it was, and we sat there and tried like 6 different like security codes for my card, and I was like, "I'm so sorry. I can't remember."
You get a text from your bank. It's like, "Someone's trying to fucking rob you."
Yeah. But she was like, "Okay, you can just come." But she was the one that wanted me to keep trying, and I'm like, "I don't remember the code."
Sorry,
And
it's
I'm like,
over.
"Maybe it's this. Let's try it." No, I'm like, "Maybe it's this." No.
All right.
Go for it.
I'm almost out of battery.
You gotta go. This is my impression of.
Yeah, no, I got it. Come on,
Okay,
dude.
all right, sorry.
Give me some
Take it
fucking-
away, dude. Oh, actually, criticism first. You gotta not trail off at the end of the
Oh
joke.
my
Dude,
God.
the last joke I posted to the thing, I literally had to go in and edit the audio so it got louder for the punchline because you couldn't hear your punchline. So I was like, okay, I have to say something. I can't be editing the audio because you would be like, and then he went to the store. And I'm like, no, that's the joke.
No, dude, that's my delivery. You fucking amp that
I have
audio.
to hear what you're saying.
Fine, I was fucking screaming.
Okay, I like it.
All right.
No, do it good.
Do it good. This is my impression of a mini golf caddy. I would go with the putter here.
That was better. You still kind of did it. This is my impression of a mini golf caddy.
I didn't. A mini golf
Just say
caddy.
it. Yeah, this is my impression of a mini golf caddy.
Oh,
Whereas
my
you're like, this is my impression of a mini golf caddy.
I didn't whisper it. I'm
did
sure.
whisper.
I'm sure
We'll
it'll
play
be
it back.
fine
You
in the
whispered
audio. A whisper.
caddy, and then you kind of said the punchline quiet. Dude,
All right.
you gotta just say it.
I guess it's just difference of opinion. We're over an hour here.
Are we? What are we
Yeah,
at?
103.
That's good. That's like a normal episode for
Yeah,
us.
pretty normal.
All right, dude. That's been the Moose Lounge podcast. Sorry, we only did 2 jokes this week. We'll be back. We'll do 6 jokes next week.
Fucking 30 jokes.
Hell yeah.
It'll be all
jokes.
jokes.
It's going to be Clip City next week.
Dude, and I'm not going to trail off at all.
Hell yeah. You should get louder as you get closer.
Oh, I'll be screaming.
Start with a whisper and then just go.
All right, thanks, guys.
Goodbye.
Oh, the clap means nothing.
I know.